Trump's last move, pardoning Bannon. According to a report by NTD News, during his last few hours in the White House, U.S. President Donald Trump made the last decision of his term to pardon former White House chief strategist Steve Bannon. Bannon was one of Trump's key partners. He was the manager of Trump's campaign team during the 2016 U.S. presidential election and was invited to serve as the White House's chief strategist after Trump's victory, but he announced his resignation in August 2017. On August 20th, 2020, Bannon and 3 others were arrested and charged by the Department of Justice with defrauding donors through the We Build the Wall campaign. Bannon refused to plead guilty during the first court hearing, and the federal judge released him on a $5 million bail. Bannon has always called for the U.S. government to be tough on the Chinese Communist Party, CCP. Last year, after the CCP had covered up the virus's outbreak, causing a worldwide pandemic, Bannon further emphasized the CCP's threat to the U.S. and the urgent need to completely decouple from the CCP's dictatorial regime during an exclusive interview with Zooming In. He went on to warn that as a result of the CCP's improper handling of the pandemic, people should realize that there is a battle happening now with the CCP. According to NTD News, citing the New York Times, in addition to pardoning Bannon, Trump also pardoned rapper Lil Wayne, Kodak Black, and 143 others on the eve of his departure from office. 73 of those convicted of federal crimes were pardoned, and another 70 had their criminal convictions remitted. Farewell the White House. President prays for a greater America. On the afternoon of Tuesday, January 19th, one day before the inauguration of the next administration, President Donald Trump released his farewell speech. He prayed for Americans' safety and prosperity, saying that the movement we started is only just the beginning.
My fellow Americans, 4 years ago we launched a great national effort to rebuild our country, to renew its spirit, and to restore the allegiance of this government to its citizens. In short, we embarked on a mission to make America great again for all Americans. As I conclude my term as the 45th President of the United States, I stand before you truly proud of what we have achieved together. We did what we came here to do, and so much more.
In his speech, President Trump told of how he came to Washington 4 years ago as the only true outsider ever, and why he wanted to become a U.S. president.
I had not spent my career as a politician, but as a builder looking at open skylines and imagining infinite possibilities. I ran for president because I knew there were towering new summits for America, just waiting to be scaled. I knew the potential for our nation was boundless as long as we put America first.
In the speech, President Trump highlighted some of his accomplishments during his presidency. He said that in the past 4 years, Americans built the greatest political movement in the history of the U.S. and the greatest economy in the history of the world. The president also trumpeted what he saw as his top achievements as the commander-in-chief.
And perhaps most importantly of all, with nearly $3 trillion, we fully rebuilt the American military, all made in the USA. We launched the first new branch of the United States Armed Forces in 75 years, the Space Force. We revitalized our alliances and rallied the nations of the world to stand up to China like never before. As a result of our bold diplomacy and principled realism, we achieved a series of historic peace deals in the Middle East. Nobody believed it could happen. The Abraham Accords opened the doors to a future of peace and harmony, not violence and bloodshed. It is the dawn of a new Middle East, and we are bringing our soldiers home. I am especially proud to be the first president in decades who has started no new wars.
President Trump also struck an optimistic tone, saying he built a potent political movement, and the best is yet to come.
We are and must always be a land of hope, of light, and of glory to all the world. This is the precious inheritance that we must safeguard at every single turn. For the past 4 years, I have worked to do just that. I fought for you. I fought for your family. I fought for our country. Above all, I fought for America and all it stands for, and that is safe, strong, proud, and free. Now, as I prepare to hand power over to a new administration at noon on Wednesday, I want you to know that the movement we started is only just beginning. I go from this majestic place with a loyal and joyful heart, an optimistic spirit, and a supreme confidence that for our country and for our children, the best is yet to come. Thank you and farewell. God bless you. God bless the United States of America.
Pfizer vaccine causes 29 deaths and facial paralysis in 13 people. The Gateway Pundit reports that 13 Israelis have suffered from facial paralysis after receiving the Pfizer vaccine, while the Norwegian government has also revealed that nearly 30 Norwegians have died after receiving the vaccine. In order to control the spread of the pandemic, Israel has vaccinated 20% of its citizens since the end of December last year with a vaccine jointly developed by Pfizer and the German biotechnology company BioNTech. According to Israeli media Ynet, the Israeli Ministry of Health recently admitted that at least 13 people in the country had developed mild facial paralysis after the mass vaccination process. In addition, the Norwegian Medicines Agency recently announced that 29 elderly and fragile people died after receiving the Pfizer vaccine in Norway. Since the vaccine produced by Pfizer and BioNTech is the only vaccine administered in Norway, all deaths are related to this vaccine, and very frail people are warned not to receive the vaccine. In mid-November of last year, Pfizer announced that it had successfully developed a new coronavirus vaccine with a final efficacy rate of 95%. The vaccine is currently being administered in many countries in Europe and the United States. Trump's 1776 Commission for Patriotic Education canceled by BH administration. No sooner had Joe Biden taken the White House than he was, through his Day 1 executive order, canceling President Trump's 1776 Commission that promotes a patriotic education centered on American history and the nation's founding values. The year of 1776 marks the birth of the United States. On July 4, 1776, Founding Fathers wrote the Declaration of Independence. They won the Revolutionary War and started a new country. Formed last September by President Donald Trump,
the 1776 Commission. It will encourage our educators to teach our children about the miracle of American history and make plans to honor the 250th anniversary of our founding.
The 1776 Commission is commonly seen as a direct response to New York Times' 1619 Project, which claims that the primary reason for the American Revolution was to preserve slavery. On January 18th, 2 days before the inauguration of the Biden-Harris administration, The 1776 Commission released a public report fulfilling its task to revisit the nation's founding history in an effort to reunite Americans around its founders' principles. Neither America nor any other nation has perfectly lived up to the universal truths of equality, liberty, justice, and government by consent. But no nation before America ever dared state those truths as the formal basis for its politics, and none has strived harder or done more to achieve them, the report reads. The report pointed out that the New York Times 1619 Project prevents students from seeing the humanity, goodness, and benevolence in America's historical figures.
So let me entreat you, gentlemen, not to take any measures which will lessen the dignity and sully the glory you have maintained. Now is the time to show one more proof of your patriotism.
77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal.
Distinguished this paper from all the others was the final, irrevocable decision that it took to assert the independence of free states in place of colonies and to commit to that goal their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor.
I have a dream. One day, this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
Instead, young readers are being presented with a distorted version of U.S. history. The report also warns that U.S. colleges and universities have become hotbeds of anti-Americanism, libel, and censorship, with the intention to manipulate opinions more than educate minds. Historical revisionism that tramples honest scholarship and historical truth shames Americans by highlighting only the sins of their ancestors, and teaches claims of systemic racism that can only be eliminated by more discrimination is an ideology intended to manipulate opinions more than educate minds, the report reads. Now, following the presidential transition, the 1776 report has been removed from the White House website. It can still be found on the archived Trump White House website.